As we go into this, you should know, I am not a director. I am definitely not a filmmaker. And I'm only calling this a short film because I can't think of a better term for it. Really, it's disrespectful to the real directors out there, the real people out there, the ones who went to school for it. Those are real short films, those are real films, and I won't disrespect them by stepping into their speciality. So then, why make this? Why put this out for everyone to see? Because I need to open up, and I couldn't think of any other way I possibly could. So hopefully this will be a window into what's going on with me. That being said though, everyone needs to know that this video, this short film, it's not for them. This is purely for my peace of mind. Well, if you wouldn't call this a short film, then what would you call it? I'm not sure. Maybe an admission. An admission of what exactly? I don't know. Guilt? Then what do you feel guilty about? Everything. I feel we need to touch base on the idea of you feeling guilty. In order to do that, I need to ask you something. What do you think of when you hear the word man? I guess I would say strong, capable, but I guess that would be the pre-2016 definition of man. Yeah. Yeah. Well, some of us men have unseen scars. Unseen scars? I think I've spent nearly 20 years just bottling everything up. And I think it really escalated the year I decided to become a pacifist. But why would that make you feel guilty? Because there's so much left unsaid. There's so much left undone. There's so much that I could do, but can't. And it's all because of this. I can't think of a term for it. The stigma I have. And how would you describe this stigma? Everyone comes before me. No matter what, I don't care what anyone says. Everyone comes before I do. Let's say someone fucks you over. I mean, really fucks you over. Like to the point where you're questioning your very being. To the point where you have to choke back your words. Literally choke back your words. All because you can't help but put yourself behind them. Because you can't help but taking feelings of anger, of sadness, of regret, of pretty much any negative emotion. Can't help but take those and just put them away, push them down, choke them down, just beat them down until there is no hope of them coming back to light. But they always do eventually, don't they?
Sketchman, I'm sick and tired.
They definitely try.
It's nearly 2 in the
And in nearly 20 years, I don't think I've ever let them out once.
Where are you?
But you're getting close, aren't you? That's why you're doing this.
Place.
Jesus,
Yeah.
just
Hey, just take
That's
it
why I'm
easy,
doing this.
man.
it's not right to treat us like this when we've been so open to you. It's not right. The door will not be unlocked for you.
Well, if that's what you think, that's what Hunter
Not
says.
tonight.
Oh, yeah, whatever. Find somewhere else to sleep tonight.
So much for locking me out.
What's that?
Why is there no sound? Because the things we talked about, I don't know, weren't necessary, I guess is the word. Well, then how can the viewers relate to what's being said? Well, it's not really meant for them. It's meant for me. And is this an excuse of some kind? I guess. I mean, that's really all I wanted for this. To be for me. Can you at least give some insight onto what's being said? Well, obviously I'm pissed off at Sketch. You know, he always comes home late. You know, we give him a place to sleep. Honestly, it feels like he doesn't respect us. But at the same time, there's no way I can truly be mad at a friend. Even if I want to. This Sketch person, he's a little unlike you. He's the polar opposite of me. How so? Well, as you can probably see from the giant bottle of Grey Goose, he's a very, very heavy drinker. Almost to the point where I'm surprised he doesn't die. I'm pretty sure you couldn't measure how intoxicated he always is. He's a very sly person. You know, unlike me, he's not afraid to say what needs to be said. You know, he's not afraid to get in your face. He's not afraid to express himself to you. I think that's probably the biggest difference we have. Doesn't really seem like you two would make a good fit for friends. No, it really doesn't. Oddly enough, I see myself in him. You see yourself in Sketch? Yeah. Actually, quite a lot. I don't want to admit it, but yeah. Sound like you were going to say something else there. I'm always about to say something else. It's in my nature not to. What's going on here? With the bottle, you keep picking it up, you're looking at it, you're motioning towards it. Well, I was just remarking that it seemed like he didn't drink nearly as much as he usually does. But, of course, he fills me in, and that's the 4th bottle he bought that night. And you're okay with this untamed soul in your house? I want to say yeah. You want to? Yeah. He's a friend. You don't turn your back on them no matter what. If I can ask, the water bottle, what's the idea behind that? While this video is for me, it doesn't mean I didn't put some theatrics into it. I mean, I would like to believe that there's some kind of symbolism there. I mean, if I just spill it out for you, it's kind of not the point, you know? I do feel like it's a pretty obvious one. Don't want to shove it down your throat. Can you tell me more about what your guys' conversation here was about? I was opening up to him a little bit. There's only so much you can bottle up. And obviously, he just got a call from me where I was practically screaming at him. So obviously, he was a little shocked. I gave him a bottle of water for his hangover that he was undoubtedly going to have. You know, one thing led to another. Next thing you know, he's telling me about his regrets. Of course, by the end of it, we both just shake it off because we're men. You know? We're not supposed to falter. We need to be stoic. Whether you're a party animal or a loving, caring fiancé. We need to be the rock. And at the end of the day, the one thing that no one, not even us, want to admit is that how we think, how we feel, it really is meaningless. So tell me about the process of this, how it originated. I mean, you went months of a dry spell of not doing anything video-wise. Then out of nowhere, you just pop up and decide you want to do this? Somewhat. This whole thing was originally just going to be me and Sketch sitting on the couch having conversation. Wasn't going to be like longer than any 4 minutes. You know, and it was originally just going to be like me and him talking about our channel, about getting back into the groove. It was supposed to originally be a I'm coming back kind of video, you know. How did it transform so heavily? I mean, it originally went from a I'm going to be back to a I'm broken and this is my way of trying to fix myself. How did it get there? I came home the night from work after thinking about how I wanted to make the video. I snapped. I lost it. I secluded myself for, I think, a week. Distanced myself from even the one I love more than anything. That's why I felt that it needed to change, needed to turn into a whole other kind of message. How do you view yourself? What do you see when you look in the mirror? Thought that would have been explained by now. So that's actually sometimes. Sometimes. Not all the time. Okay then, let me rephrase it. What do you think of yourself? A failure. With some of these scenes, and it's almost a little bit comedic about how it comes off. Yeah, a little. Especially with that PB&J one earlier. I can see how people can get a laugh out of that. I did. But I felt it got the message across. God damn it. What? No.
No, please, no. Where is it? Where'd you go? Where are you? No! God! No! Please, no. No, please. Please. Please, just... Please. What is this? Why? No! No! No!
Did you always intend to record our conversation and lace it over your video? No, I think this was a decision I made rather last minute. Why, do you think it's stupid? I want to say stupid, it's odd. Well, of course it's odd, but so am I. So you're not a film student? No, I'm not. Do you ever plan to go? No, I don't. Have you ever heard of the law of show, don't tell? Yeah, I practically try to live by it whenever I'm doing anything creative like. Obviously, with the 4 other videos I've made on YouTube, they aren't exactly story-driven, narrative stuff. Isn't this back and forth we're having more tell than show? Probably. I would just hope that one of the 2 voices speaking here, authenticity can be heard in one of them. So I've seen a couple times now you're with these frames that you're setting up, you're reinforcing the idea that you have someone that you can depend on, someone you can lean on and talk to. That would be my fiance. That would be Brianna. So why don't you open up to her? Why don't you speak to her? You have a tattoo of her on your arm. Obviously you care about her very much. I care about her more than anything. But you can't open up to her? Not to the extent that I want to. Not to the extent that I feel she deserves for me to open up to her to. And why is that? I already told you why is that. You're scared of the things that you actually want to tell her. Of course I am. Anyone who actually cares about someone they love would be. You said you devoted yourself to pacifism. I did. And I still am. So you don't believe in violence whatsoever. I guess I would kind of class myself as a pseudo-pacifist. I mean, I still play bloody and gory video games and whatnot, you know, I'll rock some Mortal Kombat, but I don't see violence as the answer in real life. I don't see how anger gets you anywhere. Sounds noble, but must be difficult. It is. Why did you choose to become a pacifist? A long time ago, we lived in Wisconsin. That's where my dad met my stepmother, my used-to-be stepmother, and it was without a doubt the worst experience I've had when it comes to like school, you know, living situation. I mean, we've lived in tents, literally we lived in a tent during fall, it was cold, you know, like, and yet I'll still say that the 2-3 bedroom maybe apartment that we lived in Wisconsin was still my worst one. Well, if you've lived in some pretty bad situations, I've lived in some bad situations. Why would Wisconsin be the worst? I've been bullied practically my entire life, but in Wisconsin, I think it was the worst that it ever had been. I'm gonna sound like Rudolph a little bit here, but they wouldn't invite me to play their reindeer games. You know, the only 2 friends I made were both special ed kids, because they were the only ones who saw me as a person, but everyone else, they just saw some kid. Some annoying little kid, you know, this kid, he stutters a lot, he's super pale, it's annoying, you know, that's what they saw, but I guess that's what they got. It was very awkward. I moved so much I didn't know how to make friends, really. I apologize. I know how bad bullying can be. I think we all do in a way. But how did that lead you to becoming a pacifist? I think this next scene will explain why. Are you telling me that something like that's happened before? I guess I was lying earlier when I said I've never let it out before. Maybe it wasn't to that extent, but it got pretty bad. Well, it seems like it's over. You haven't turned off the mic. You're still recording us? Yeah. Why is that? Why not just end it? Because I need to admit something to myself. You know I'm always willing to hear what you have to say. No, you aren't. Excuse me? I am never willing to hear out myself. Are you feeling alright? Your tone is changing a little bit. I am a liar. I am a manipulator. I'm doing it to you right now. Excuse me? By bottling things up, I've learned to manipulate the situations around me in ways that people don't even realize. What, are you just some kind of Jason Bourne kind of guy? No one special. Just a horrible, terrible person who wants to change.